The first things I need to do are remove the two lower shock bolts and the upper A-arm bolts so that we can lower the cradle to gain access to the harmonic balancer bolt. We'll also need to remove the engine mounts so that when we drop the cradle, we can support the engine, and the engine will go up with the harmonic balancer and the cradle with the steering rack will go down. And with those removed, I'm going to go ahead and move to removing the bolts that secure the upper A-arm to the chassis. And as long as you put this back together with the same number of washers, if any, sandwiched between this and the chassis, for both of these, you'll be fine, because all of the rest of your adjustment is down here, as you can see with these adjustable cams, and we won't be touching these, so we're good to go. I've got an adjustable stand under the lower A-arm to help support it and to allow for easier extraction of all of the lower shock and upper A-arm bolts we will be removing. Make sure these tabs are kind of caught behind this tower on each side, because when it drops, they'll go down to here. That'll keep the whole knuckle assembly from twisting out this way. I'll go ahead now and remove the lower bolts to the shock. That's going to allow the cradle to drop down as far as we need to. Otherwise, it's just going to want to hang on the shock absorber. Now we'll do the exact same thing to the passenger side. So I've got each lower A-arm supported by a jack so that the steering knuckle doesn't have to support all of that weight with the shock disconnected. I have an adjustable stand underneath the oil pan with a 2x8, and I've lifted up on the oil pan quite a bit. So you can see we've got about a couple inches of movement on the motor mount there. Now I'm going to go ahead and loosen the nuts, all four of them, 1 and 2. There's 2 on the other side as well, so that we can lower the cradle down a little bit, which the steering rack is attached to. That will lower the steering rack as well, and we should be able to get at the bolt for the harmonic balancer. So I've got everything supported here, and I've removed the nuts on this side, and on the passenger side, the nuts are still on, but they're very loose, as you can see. Now, to get the motor mount out, those studs are so stupid long, I'm going to just take the mount off the block. It's got 3, looks to be 13 millimeter bolts. 1, 2, 3, and that'll give us all the room we need to remove the mount. Oh, we got a gusher. That's not good. So here's the mount on the bench. What happens is, over time and flexing and age, the top tears away and all the oil that's inside here leaks out. And it still has the ability to kind of hold the engine in place. It's not going to go anywhere. And the engine on these cars is attached to the torque tube. So it's not like the older days where the engine could flop around a lot more. So anyway, these are hitting the dumpster. And the UPS truck just arrived. I would go with these GM motor mounts. And as you can see, that's what they're supposed to look like. Ooh. A quick word about motor mounts. The stock AC Delco replacement rubber motor mounts that I'll be using are not really intended for forced induction applications. So why in the heck am I using them? And that is a fair question. The answer to the question comes down to personal preference and a bit of a compromise. The fact is, my C6 will be on the street 99.9% of the time, and the amount of time that it will be spent actually driving at various track events is actually quite negligible, and as such, I want to minimize the amount of engine vibration that is transmitted directly into the chassis. If my C6 was going to be used at the track 50% of the time or more, and or I was 20 years old again, I'd probably go with a polyurethane set of motor mounts and put up with that extra harshness. And so if your situation is materially different than mine, then by all means go with some sort of a poly mount, and there are several good aftermarket options to choose from. That having been said, I believe GM used this exact AC Delco mount in the mighty C6 Z06 with its LS7 and 505 horsepower. So Chevrolet must have believed this mount could stand up to extra horsepower, at least for a little while. Now the supercharged LS2 should have well over 100 more horsepower than the mighty LS7, but since I don't plan on doing any super hard launches at the drag strip with sticky drag racing tires, I fully expect the AC Delco mounts to give me around 5 years before they start to tear. And we'll stick the new mount into its new home. Hopefully, there we go. And now we'll just bolt the aluminum mount to the engine block. Perfect. Should be good for another 10 years, hopefully. Maybe less with the supercharger. Now we just have to do the driver's side. And it looks like I have access to those mounts as well. Once again, maybe the headers are a plus here, which is kind of rare, but let's get that bracket off and then we can get the mount out as well. Okay, passenger side mount is in place. All I have to do is tighten up the aluminum mount to the block and both motor mounts are done. All right, we've got the 2 new motor mounts in, so that's good. I've got the front end of the cradle dropped down. Everything is supported. The engine is lifted up a smidge with the fixture I've got going on here. When you're lowering the cradle from the chassis, is just make sure none of these hoses are getting too tight or bent. So take it slow when you're dropping the cradle. You know, you certainly don't want to bend any brake lines or hydraulic lines. And here's what I'm looking at for the bolt. I'm plenty far above the steering rack. And I'm going to see if I can work around this power steering line or if I'll have to remove it. So let's see what happens. So the next step is to take this bolt out with the impact. And here's my weapon of choice. This is the DeWalt, and I've got a 24mm on there. So far it hasn't let me down in getting off harmonic balancer bolts. Here's what you get with the pinning kit. You get a brand new GM harmonic balancer bolt. It's already got the sealant applied here. This is my preferred bolt. I personally like these better than the ARP because this is torque to yield. It's been on millions of LS engines and you rarely hear of them coming loose. When torqued properly, they give you this apparatus as well, which is the pinning fixture. That's the hole that you'll stick the drill bit through. We'll put this through the crankshaft, drill a hole deep enough to insert this pin, and then we'll reinstall this bolt. Now that the old harmonic balancer bolt is out, this will be discarded. We will not reuse this. Like I said, we have a new one. We're going to go ahead and install the pinning fixture, which has kind of this recessed edge here. This will go in towards the crankshaft and the balancer, and we will just snug it up with this bolt. And then using a sharp 1/4-inch drill bit, we will drill a hole into the end of the crankshaft that is just ever so slightly longer than the pin that we'll be inserting in the end of the crankshaft. Now I have the pinning kit installed. The bolt is snugged down. I've got a 1/4-inch drill bit stuck in there, and I've marked where the bit is flush with the fixture. I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to put another piece of tape on that's a little bit longer than the length of the pin. So the pinning fixture was right to there. So the length of the pin, and I will go a smidge longer to account for the beveled edge of the drill bit. So this one comes off, and now I drill the hole until this is equal with the edge of the fixture. Once you're satisfied the hole is deep enough, go ahead and check its depth several times against the length of the pin you are going to be inserting. This pin's face has to be about equal with the front of the crankshaft, not the front of the harmonic balancer, which sticks out another 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. Once you're satisfied you've got the right length, you can go ahead and insert the pin. And here's what mine looks like. It's actually a little bit deeper than I would like, but that's better than it being a little bit too long. By the way, I'm going to be reusing this harmonic balancer. It is a power bond. It is about 1 year old, not many miles on it, and I've had good luck with power bond and supercharging. I've got a power bond in the C5 and that's been doing fine for about 8 years. But you do want to inspect it to make sure you don't see any signs that it's separating or anything that looks suspicious. Next, using a brand new GM torque to yield bolt, I put a little thread locker red on the last ½ inch of the threads, and then I follow the Chevrolet torque procedure for this bolt, and that's what I recommend. I'm a big fan of the Summit Racing harmonic balancer holder. This does a great job allowing me to get this fully torqued to manufacturer specs. And it's just used in conjunction with a short breaker bar on one side to hold it while you're turning the bolt. Alternatively, you can bolt this style in place of the starter, and it holds onto the teeth of the flywheel. Now I can go ahead and retighten the bolts holding the cradle to the subframe. You want to do it in steps. You don't want to over tighten one and risk breaking the cast aluminum. So just keep going around all 4 of them, slowly cinching it back up to manufacturer specs. Next, we will be reattaching the steering column back to the steering rack, and I always use a little bit of blue Loctite on this bolt for sure. Then of course we need to retighten the nuts that are on the side of the EBCM. There's the first one, and there's the second one.